We've kind of already touched on the Christmas Carol of 2009 a couple of days ago here on this show, but if I had to pick my favorite overall version of A Christmas Carol, and I love a lot of versions of the story, the best one in particular is one that didn't even show in theaters. It was a holiday tradition on CBS for a number of years back in the 1980s, and that's the George C. Scott Christmas Carol. This was a film that came on CBS in December of 1984 and went on to become a holiday tradition for several years on CBS before eventually kind of going away after a little bit and then coming back on AMC in 2007. And thus, since then, it's been on television every year since. Like, it's been that tradition that has still very much been there ever since AMC bought it back is nearly 20 years ago. And it's a good thing they did put it out there, because it's definitely a chance for you to see probably the best overall version of A Christmas Carol out there. There really is nothing to say about the story in general. It's an old bitter miser, played down by George C. Scott, who rationalizes his uncaring nature, learns real compassion when three spirits visit him on Christmas Eve. And really, there's not much more I can really add to this per se. This is basically a straightforward retelling of A Christmas Carol, with the casting of George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge. You'll also have characters played by Frank Finlay as Marley's ghost, David Warner as Bob Cratchit, Susanna York as Mrs. Cratchit, Angela Pleasance as the Ghost of Christmas Past, Edward Woodward, who was then around the time starring in The Equalizer as the Ghost of Christmas Present, and Roger Reeves, who would later go on to star as Robin Colcord on Cheers, as well as playing the Sheriff of Rottingham in Robin Hood Men in Tights, starring as Scrooge's nephew Fred. And really what makes this version the best version of it is the fact that it's headlined by a strong performance by George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, he is absolutely terrific in this. He pulls off the character of Scrooge and does it so well. You'll wonder if the real Scrooge actually does look like him. There are moments in this movie where, he has to look at his father, and he's next to his younger self, and really, you can tell that these two are the same person, and you can watch George C. Scott looking straight into the eyes of his father, like he is fully committed to this 100%. And it helps that the cast overall is great. Edward Woodward, who you see on The Equalizer as this kind of straightforward guy in particular, I like the fact that he does have a little bit of a sense of humor about himself in this, and he plays that part very well here, adding into elements of the character of the Ghost of Christmas Present. He has actually one of the really good lines in here where, they're in Cratchit's house, and Scrooge is talking about how Tiny Tim shouldn't die, and then the Ghost of Christmas Present is just like, well, maybe he should die, and then decrease the surplus population, because that's the line that Ebenezer Scrooge used when the people who were asking money for the poor were coming in. He said the exact same thing, and then George C. Scott's just like, you're using my own words against me. And the Ghost of Christmas Present just goes, yes. So perhaps in the future you will hold your tongue until you have discovered what the surplus population is and where it is. It may well be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child. And that's just me saying it like it is, but when you hear it coming out of Edward Woodward's mouth, like, you feel it. Like, you feel like this is something that you don't see in other adaptations of A Christmas Carol. And I just love this. I love this line so much. And you don't really think about it at first, but as time goes on, and then you start to really watch this over and over again, and you see the power of just how strong that line is. Like, it's a great line in particular, and just works really well to the film's advantages of what makes this one so unique and so different. It does the film in an original, unique way, and the direction is well done. This is directed by Clive Donner, and Clive Donner is a guy who mostly has been known for directing stuff like mostly other TV movies and stuff for Britain, like Oliver Twist and The Scarlet Pimpernel. And he did the 1986 Babes in Toyland movie with Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore. He also did another movie that was not well received. It was Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen, was the one with Peter Ustinov in it. He also did stuff like The Nude Bomb. He did What's New Pussycat. I mean, he's done a lot of notable things, and this is definitely his best work overall. The music by Nick Beatcat is very good too. The look of the film is impressive. Like, you can't believe that this was a television movie. This was back when TV movies could look like real movies. This doesn't look like some bland Lifetime original movie. No, this feels like the honest to true real thing, and it just feels like it feels like the book is coming right out of you, is coming out of you, the book and onto the screen. It's just very well done. This is definitely the definitive Christmas Carol movie to watch. This is a film that is so well done. Everything about it just works. If you're forced to watch one version of Christmas Carol in your lifetime, it's got to be this one right here. The 1984 Christmas Carol. I can't recommend this puppy enough.